Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another deep dive.
Yes, welcome back.
Today, we're talking about something I think everybody listening can relate to, and that is relationships and how to build stronger and healthier ones.
And you know what's so cool about today's topic
What?
is that we're going to be using this really fascinating research-backed acronym
Oh, right, yeah.
called DANCE.
Dance.
And it's from this guy named John Gottman,
I know him. Yeah.
who is like a relationship guru, right? He spent decades
Oh, yeah, he's the guy.
studying thousands of couples.
He's like the relationship whisperer or something.
Right, exactly. So this acronym, DANCE, it's like a cheat sheet
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
to building stronger bonds.
So today, think of this deep dive as your relationship tune-up.
Yeah, are you ready to learn the steps?
I am. Let's do it.
All right, so let's start with D, which stands for directly turning towards
Okay, turning towards,
your partner, not away.
not away from them.
All right. Now, this is all about those like little everyday moments when your partner reaches out for connection.
All right.
It's like a bid for connection and how you respond.
So we're not talking about planning a huge romantic gesture. or something.
No, not at all. We're talking about,
Just like everyday things.
right. It could be anything from, asking, how was your day? To sharing a funny meme that you saw on your phone, to even just like reaching for their hand when you're walking down the street.
Oh, I get it.
So turning towards is just acknowledging that bid, however small.
Showing that you're present.
Yes, exactly. Being present and engaged.
So instead of just grunting fine when someone asks me, how was your day?
Exactly.
I actually stop and make eye contact and genuinely try to engage.
You got it.
I see.
Now think back to attachment theory, right?
Right.
Just like babies
Okay.
need a responsive caregiver.
Right.
We as adults crave that sense of security in our relationship. So turning towards really builds that foundation
The foundation of trust.
of trust, of connection. Yeah.
Okay, but I gotta be honest.
What's that?
I don't think any of us are perfectly attuned to our partners 24/7.
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
Like we're going to miss those bids sometimes.
It happens. Yeah.
So what happens when we turn away instead of towards?
Well, think about it this way. Imagine your partner keeps reaching out, right,
Okay.
for connection, and you consistently just ignore them or dismiss them.
Ouch.
What happens? It creates distance.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, that emotional connection,
It starts to fray.
it starts to fray.
So even those small moments,
Mhm.
they really can add up.
They add up. And, Gottman's research actually shows
Right.
that couples who consistently turn towards each other's bids,
Okay.
they have much happier and more stable relationships.
Wow. So even those little insignificant moments,
They might seem small, but
yeah, they matter.
they matter.
Okay. So we've covered D, directly turning towards.
We have.
What's next in this relationship dance?
Let's move on to A.
A, which stands for accepting your partner's influence.
Interesting.
Now this one
This one feels a little,
can be tricky,
yeah, especially when disagreements pop up.
especially during disagreements. Yeah.
Right. So it's like resisting that urge to become defensive.
Exactly. Resisting that urge to shut down.
Cut down the conversation.
Yeah, to just be completely closed off.
So why is defensiveness such a big deal?
Well, think of defensiveness as like a wall that blocks connection.
A wall. Yeah.
Right. So it prevents understanding, it prevents compromise.
Doesn't allow for that back and forth.
It's just like, nope, I'm right, you're wrong.
Right.
And that's not a good recipe.
It makes me think of social exchange theory,
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
where, relationships thrive when both partners feel like their contributions are valued.
Absolutely. And accepting influence is like saying to your partner, I see your point.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
value your opinion,
Even if I don't agree.
even if I don't fully agree.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it fosters a sense of equality and respect.
Now, wasn't there something that Gottman found that was really interesting about this?
There was.
Particularly in heterosexual relationships.
Yeah. So he found that men who were more open to their female partner's influence
Right.
tended to have more successful marriages.
Isn't that interesting?
It is, yeah.
It really challenges traditional gender roles
It does.
and highlights the importance of mutual respect.
Right. And valuing each other's perspectives.
It's like, a healthy relationship is a two-way street.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered D and A.
Let's move on to N.
N, what's N for?
N stands for nurturing your partner.
Nurturing, okay.
Now, this seems pretty straightforward on the surface.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's more to it
There is.
than just saying, I love you.
Right. It's more than just words. Nurturing is about showing up for your
Yeah.
partner emotionally.
Emotionally, okay.
It's celebrating their successes, offering comfort during tough times, expressing appreciation for who they are.
So it's those actions.
Yeah, those actions that speak louder than words.
Right.
It's about fostering a sense of safety and support.
So your partner feels valued and loved.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm thinking about self-expansion theory.
Yeah.
When we feel nurtured,
Yes.
we're more likely to grow.
To grow, to evolve, to become the best versions of ourselves.
Nurturing really creates that space,
It does.
both individually and as a couple.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But what about the opposite of nurturing?
Right. What should we avoid?
Right, what's the big no-no here?
The big no-no is contempt.
Oh, contempt, okay.
That is the relationship killer.
Oh, wow.
Think about it. Like
Yeah.
eye-rolling, sarcasm, criticism,
Yeah.
even name-calling. These are all forms of contempt
Okay.
that just chip away at the foundation of the relationship.
They sound brutal. Why is contempt so damaging?
It's damaging because it communicates disrespect
Okay.
and disdain. It just attacks your partner's sense of self-worth.
And this can be a major predictor of relationships breaking down, right?
According to Gottman, yes, absolutely.
It's nurturing.
It's the antidote.
It's the opposite, yeah.
Right, it's the positive force that strengthens the bond.
So I want to ask our listeners to reflect for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
How do you nurture your partner?
Yeah, how do you show up for them?
Maybe it's a thoughtful gesture, words of affirmation, or just truly being present and listening.
Right, these small acts.
They really make a difference.
They make a world of difference in cultivating a loving and supportive relationship.
So we've covered D, A, and N.
We have. What's next?
C, which is concerning? Giving your concerns in a way that can be heard.
Ah, yes, see.
So we're talking about communication.
We are.
But it sounds like there's a specific focus here.
There is, yeah.
It's about how we express our concerns.
Exactly, and how we do it constructively.
Constructively.
Right, yeah. So it's about finding that sweet spot between honesty,
Right?
like expressing your needs, but without blaming or attacking your partner.
Without making it an attack. Yeah.
Right, and this is where I statements come in.
Oh, okay. Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say you're feeling overwhelmed
Right.
with like household chores, right?
Mm-hmm. I can relate to that.
Instead of saying, you never help around here,
Right.
which puts your partner on the defensive, you try saying something like, I'm feeling stressed because I'm handling most of the chores. I would really appreciate some help.
Okay, that's a really good example.
It focuses on your feelings and your needs
Not-
without blaming your partner.
So you're not attacking.
Right, and this approach actually aligns perfectly with nonviolent communication,
Nonviolent
which
communication.
is often called NVC.
Okay, so tell me more about NVC.
So it emphasizes empathy
Hmm.
and understanding in communication.
So finding solutions together.
Yes, as opposed to
Instead of
pointing fingers and blaming each other.
Right. So it's about creating that safe space for honest and open communication.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
So what do you think? What are some ways that our listeners could apply this to their own lives?
Well, here's a challenge for our listeners.
Okay, I like it.
Think about a recent disagreement that you had with your partner.
Okay, yeah.
How could you have expressed your concerns differently? Using I statements and really focusing on your needs and feelings.
It's a great challenge.
Yeah, maybe an interesting exercise.
It is, yeah. It might shift the whole dynamic of the conversation.
Right, right.
From like accusatory to collaborative.
Okay, so that's C.
What's up next?
E, the final letter in dance. Emotional and relational adjoining at the heart during conflict.
Yeah, E. Yes.
Okay, this one sounds deep.
It is deep.
It sounds like it requires a lot of emotional intelligence.
It does, you're right. It's about staying connected to
Oh,
your
sure.
partner, even when things get heated.
Okay, I see.
Right. It's about avoiding that emotional flooding,
Emotional flooding.
where you either shut down completely
Right.
or you lash out.
So basically not letting your emotions completely hijack the conversation
Exactly.
and beat to a meltdown.
Yeah, it's about staying present.
Staying present even when it's hard.
Right. And this ties into the concept of emotion regulation,
Emotion regulation.
which is basically, how well are we at managing our emotions,
Okay.
especially during those difficult moments.
So the better we are at managing our emotions,
The more likely we are to have like productive and healthy conversations.
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But,
What's that?
what happens when things do escalate?
Yeah, that happens.
If you find yourself getting really overwhelmed
Right. What do you do?
in the heat of the moment.
That's when taking a break becomes so crucial.
Taking a break, okay.
But here's the key. The break is to cool down.
Okay.
Right. Not to stew in your anger.
Right, not to just like plan your next attack.
Exactly. Exactly. You want to return to the conversation
Okay.
with the goal of reconnecting
I see.
and finding a resolution.
So it's a strategic retreat.
Yes.
Not a permanent escape.
You got it, because remember, the
Yeah.
goal
Yeah.
is to find a solution that works for both of you
Right, a compromise.
and that requires staying emotionally connected,
Even when it's tough.
even when it's really tough.
It's not always easy,
It's not, no.
but it's worth it.
It is.
Okay, so we've unpacked all 5 letters of dance.
We have.
D-A-N-C-E.
We did it.
Let's do a quick recap before we talk about how to actually apply these principles.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so D, directly turn towards.
Responding to those bids for connection, big and small.
Okay, A, accepting your partner's influence.
Being open to their perspective, even when you disagree.
N, nurturing your partner.
Showing up for them emotionally, expressing care and support,
And C, concerning giving your concerns in a way that can be heard.
communicating your needs clearly and respectfully.
And finally, E, emotional and relational adjoining at the heart during conflict.
Staying emotionally connected even during disagreements.
It's amazing how these 5 elements cover so much ground in terms of what makes a relationship work.
You really do.
But now the question is, how do we actually put these steps into practice in our own lives?
That's where the rubber meets the road.
Right, exactly. So the good news is that Gottman gives us these tangible actions that we can take.
It does, yeah.
So let's break it down,
Okay.
letter by letter.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, D, directly turn towards. What's a practical tip our listeners can use to improve in this area?
Well, I would say start by just becoming more aware of those bids for connection. Remember, they can be subtle.
Okay.
A question about your day, a shared glance, a gentle touch.
Right.
Instead of brushing those off,
Okay.
make a conscious effort to respond
Mm.
with warmth, with engagement.
So like putting down your phone, making eye contact,
Yeah, really being present in the moment.
even just for a few seconds.
Exactly. But those few seconds
Yeah.
can make a big difference.
Okay, how about A, accepting your partner's influence?
Okay.
What's a tangible step we can take to be more open to our partner's perspective?
Next time you find yourself disagreeing with your partner,
Okay, yeah.
try this. Before you jump in to defend your position,
Okay.
just pause for a moment.
Hmm.
Genuinely try to understand their point of view.
Okay.
Ask clarifying questions, listen without interrupting,
Right.
and resist the urge to immediately counter their argument.
So shifting from that me versus you
Exactly.
to a we're in this together.
You got it.
Okay, I like that.
It's about seeing the situation through their eyes.
Even if you don't totally agree.
Even if you don't fully agree, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to N, nurturing your partner.
Okay.
What's a simple yet powerful way to show our partners we care?
Express gratitude and affection regularly.
Okay.
It sounds basic,
Yeah.
but it's so important.
I think it's easy to forget.
It is.
That is, though.
So tell your partner what you appreciate about them.
Okay.
Both big and small things.
Okay.
Leave them a loving note, offer a hug, give them words of encouragement.
Those little acts of kindness can go a long way.
They can. They really nourish that emotional bond.
Right.
And they create a positive atmosphere in the relationship.
Okay, on to C. Concerning giving your concerns in a way that could be heard.
Okay.
We talked about using I statements.
You did.
What else can our listeners try?
Practice active listening.
Active listening. Okay.
It goes hand in hand with those I statements.
I see. So when your partner is expressing their concerns,
Yeah.
you give them your full attention.
Yes, give them your full attention, make eye contact, nod to show you're listening,
Right, right.
and summarize what you've heard to ensure that you're understanding correctly.
So it's not just about what we say.
No.
It's about how we listen.
Exactly. Active listening, it conveys respect,
Okay.
and it validates your partner's feelings, making them feel heard and understood.
And finally, E. Emotional and relational joining at the heart during conflict.
The big one?
This one can be tough,
It
especially in the heat of the moment.
is. So what's one practical tip
Yeah.
to help us stay emotionally connected during those disagreements?
Mm.
If you feel yourself getting flooded with emotion,
Yeah.
take a time out.
Okay. But before you just disengage completely,
Right.
let your partner know that you need a break
That's important.
and that you'll come back.
Yeah, when you've calmed down.
So strategic retreat, not a permanent escape.
Exactly. It's about coming back to the conversation with a renewed focus on understanding and connection.
This has been such an insightful deep dive into the dance acronym.
It has been fun.
It's so clear that these 5 principles can have a profound impact on our relationships.
It really can.
And the beauty of it
What's that?
is that these are skills that we can learn and practice.
Absolutely anyone can learn this.
It's not about being perfect.
No, not at all.
It's about making a conscious effort to move towards connection, even when it's challenging.
Right, and that's the key, that conscious effort.
So listeners, put on your dancing shoes
Put them on.
and give these steps a try.
You got it.
Your relationships will thank you for it.
I think they will.
Wow, we have really explored this dance acronym today.
We have.
But before we wrap up, I'm curious.
What about it?
What stands out to you the most? Like, what's the most crucial part?
You know what fascinates me? It's how interconnected all 5 of these elements are.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they really do build on each other, you know? It creates this positive cycle in the relationship. But if I had to pick one as the most vital, I think it would be E.
Oh, E.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why E?
Emotional and relational adjoining at the heart during conflict.
Okay.
Because let's face it, conflict is a part of life.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. It's part of every relationship. So it's how we navigate those disagreements that determines whether the conflict becomes destructive.
Oh, yeah.
Or actually brings us closer.
That makes sense.
You know?
Yeah, if we can maintain that emotional connection, even when we're disagreeing,
Exactly.
it helps us to work through things productively.
It does. It prevents those conflicts from like spiraling out of control.
Yeah, and causing real damage.
And causing lasting damage to the relationship.
So as you think about everything we've talked about today, I want to leave you with this question to ponder.
Okay.
Of all these elements of dance, which one feels most crucial for your relationships and why?
It might be different for everyone, you know?
All right, Abe.
Maybe there's one you're already doing great at.
Yeah.
And one where you're like, could you do some work on that one?
Yeah. It's a journey, isn't it?
It's always a journey.
If you want to dive deeper into this, we highly recommend checking out John Gottman's books,
Great books.
The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work and The Relationship Cure.
Classics.
They're packed with insights and practical tools.
And you know, you can also find a ton of information online about attachment theory, nonviolent communication, social exchange theory.
Right. There's so much out there.
There is.
To help us build stronger and healthier relationships.
It's exciting.
Well, that's a wrap on another deep dive.
That's a wrap.
I hope you found this episode insightful and empowering.
I did.
Until next time, keep dancing towards those healthy connections.
Keep